I tested a ton of ingredients until I finally created a breakfast sausage my whole family actually loves, with fresh garden herbs from my backyard garden. And I'm going to show you just how I did it. All right, let's get into it. I'm using pork butt for this recipe. Pork butt is already about a 70-30 lean to fat ratio, which is pretty much perfect for breakfast sausage. Keeps it juicy, flavorful, and not dry. I'm starting with about a 4-pound pork butt, but for this recipe, I only need 1,000 grams, about 2.2 pounds. So I'm going to cut this in half, weigh it out, and don't worry, we're not wasting the rest. I've got something perfect planned for another video, so we'll save that for later. Next, I'm going to cut this into smaller chunks, just small enough to fit through my KitchenAid stand mixer grinder attachment. I've learned over time that keeping the pieces a little bit smaller helps everything feed smoother and prevents the grinder from getting jammed up. I try to make them small enough that I don't even really have to use the meat pusher very aggressively. That seems to be the trick to keep it from getting gummed up. Once that's done, I'm going to spread it out and pop it in the freezer for about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not going to try to freeze it solid. Just firm it up a bit so the fat stays clean and doesn't smear when it goes through the grinder. That's what really helps you get that nice texture in the final sausage. I also put my grinder attachment in the freezer as well to keep all the parts cold. Whenever I can, I like to use fresh herbs straight from the garden. It makes the food brighter, more aromatic, and honestly, more personal. First, I'm going to grab some fresh parsley. Next up, some English thyme. This one's really aromatic and can really help boost the flavor. Now, I'm going to grab just a couple of cayenne peppers from my Dutch bucket hydroponic system. I've been growing my hot peppers hydroponically for a while and been getting amazing results. I'm only going to add enough to bring just a little heat, enough to wake everything up without overpowering it. And over here, I've got some sage. Sage brings that classic sausage flavor, really earthy, really traditional. Now, I've got my pork chilled and cut into smaller chunks, so it fits smoothly through the grinder. My KitchenAid stand mixer with the grinder attachment works really well for small batches like this. I like to run everything through a coarse plate. That way, I get a good texture without it turning too fine. And it's always important to keep the meat and the grinder parts cold. It helps everything grind cleaner and keeps the texture right for the sausage. And now we combine our herbs and seasoning to our 1 kilogram or 2.2 pound pork butt. First, I want to combine the ingredients that I want to chop, which include 12 sage leaves, 15 parsley leaves, 12 sprigs of thyme, 1 gram of fennel, which I like to chop up as well, because if you leave them whole, fennel becomes a distinct bite. If you chop them, it becomes part of the overall flavor profile, more subtle and balanced. 2 cayenne peppers, or 6 grams. This amount is very subtle. If you start here, you should not have a problem with it being too hot for almost anybody, including my wife, who can't handle any spice. Then I added 2 roasted garlic that I roasted in my oven in aluminum foil. I put them in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just until it turned soft and golden. Then I let it cool down before adding it to the other herbs. Now, I'm going to chop this all up. The goal is just to get everything nice and uniform and incorporated so it mixes evenly into the meat. Nothing too fine. You still want a little texture, but small enough that every bite gets a bit of everything. It just helps the flavor come together instead of having certain spots that are stronger than others. Then we add 19 grams of kosher salt, 4 grams of black pepper, 2 grams of coriander, 2 grams of MSG, 15 grams of brown sugar, and 40 grams of non-fat dry milk powder. that helps with the moisture retention and texture. It binds the meat so your sausage stays juicy and doesn't get crumbly. Now, I'm mixing this by hand. It lets you feel the texture and make sure everything's evenly combined without overworking it. What I'm looking for is when the mixture starts to get a little sticky and tacky. That means the proteins are binding and it's going to hold together when it cooks. Once it looks uniform and holds together, that's when you know it's ready. Now, I'm wrapping the sausage tightly in plastic wrap and letting it rest in the fridge overnight. This gives the salt, garlic, herbs, and spices time to meld together and get fully incorporated. So tomorrow, everything cooks in a more cohesive manner, so it's more juicy and flavorful. I'm portioning the sausage into uniform 2-ounce balls, so every patty cooks evenly and finishes at the same time. Keeping them consistent in size also helps with even browning and makes it easier to control texture in the pan. Once they're all portioned, I'll hand press them into patties so they're ready for a quick, even cook later. An important thing to note here, don't smash them down in the pan. Let them cook on their own so they brown properly and stay juicy instead of squeezing all the goodness out. Hey, I need a couple eggs again. You want to give me one? Here, I'll give you some of these. How about you? Who wants to give me an egg? You want to give me an egg too? How about you? All right, I need 2 eggs. Okay? Deal's a deal. Okay, so let's give this a try. These flavors are very good. I really like this a lot. You could always adjust and add more heat if you want, but I think this tastes really good right now. Thanks so much for watching.